Well, hello everyone. It is a beautiful day here in Tennessee, and I'm enjoying all of my Vanda blooms. And I wanted to share with you a video about what to do when your orchid won't rebloom. What's the problem? What are some steps that you can take so that it will rebloom for you? I have found that usually the main problem in trying to get an orchid to rebloom is insufficient light. I have found that the more light they get, the more they bloom for me. I have found that my Vandas like more sunlight than all of the rest of my orchid collection. They're back here in my sunroom and they get sunlight throughout the entire day. Now they are under roof. They're in my sunroom. They're not outside, but they require a lot of light. Then my Cattleya. It loves being in a western-facing window, as do my miniature Phalaenopsis orchids. My miniature Phalaenopsis orchids started blooming a whole lot better when I started giving them more light. They just weren't blooming for me. I kept them for years and they wouldn't bloom. I put them in some western-facing windows and all of a sudden they perked up and they started blooming. I have found that my phals do the best in eastern-facing windows. Pretty much if you have a phal, a northern-facing window is just not enough to make mine rebloom. They like that morning sunlight. So as much as you can, try to find the windows in your house that get the morning sunlight. Put your Phalaenopsis orchids there, and they will most likely rebloom for you. Also, my Dendrobiums, they like eastern-facing windows as well. So, sufficient light, correct lighting is absolutely of paramount importance to get your orchids to rebloom. And the next thing is something that I tried back in December and it worked for me. You see that I have two Vandas that are in bloom and the one on the far left has a big old spike on it. Okay. I started watering these with warm water every day for about a week, and they spiked. Nobody knows why that works, but it does. And I put that on one of my Vanda videos, and several of you caught on to that, and I've heard from many of you all that that has worked for you. So, warm water every day for a week. It doesn't hurt anything to give it a try, and like I said, I got 3 Vanda bloom spikes off of it. That is success. And another really good tip on how to get your orchids to spike and to spike on time is to use seaweed extract. I've been using seaweed extract now for almost a year, and I've had nothing but just really positive results, and my phals and my Dendrobiums spiked earlier this year than they did last year, so that's a really added benefit to using the seaweed extract. And I've featured this in several of my videos, but I'm going to show you again the type of seaweed extract that I use, and I use this at a rate of about 20 drops per gallon every time I water. Every time I water, it gets the seaweed extract. This is a really good source of potassium and also amino acids. And the amino acids are really important. They tell the plant what to do and when. And like I said, my spikes started appearing earlier this year than last year. And the spikes are also larger, and I'm going to have a better bloom cycle this time than I did this time last year. So this is wonderful to use. And another tip about reblooming, especially with your phals, actually this only applies to your phals, is not to cut off your old bloom spikes. These are both secondary spikes that you see here on my beautiful phal Pink Twilight that's just coming back into bloom. And as you see, I'm getting 9 blooms off of these 2 secondary spikes. So let me think. This wasn't in bloom too long ago, and I did not cut anything back off of this plant until it turned brown. Just the very top of it turned brown, so I cut that back. But as you see, I've got a beautiful display here. These are secondary spikes. It's awesome. And here's another example. I have 2 secondary spikes and a lot of branching off of this little Foul Soho Pearl. And it was just in bloom back in October. And look at this, it's already sent out secondary spikes, and these blooms are going to be ready to go probably in about a month. So when you fertilize, if you'll use your calcium and your magnesium, then these spikes will stay on the plant. They won't turn brown. And you will have secondary spikes and they will bloom. And these have bloomed very quickly. And here's my little Foul Soho Vivian. As you see, still has 1 bloom on this spike. But look at this other spike. Got some branching here, and then this spike has elongated, and I'm going to get 4 more blooms off of that. So that's a good deal as well. So keep your spikes on your phals. Now for your other orchids, your vandas, your dendrobiums, and your cattleyas, all of those spikes are going to turn brown. They don't rebloom. So what I do is, here is one of my dens that just came out of bloom. And as you see, this spike has completely turned brown, and I allow them to completely turn brown before I remove them, because they're going to reabsorb the nutrients from these old spikes, and that's going to improve the health of the plant. And when you improve the health of the plant, you're going to get a better bloom cycle the next time. And speaking of the overall health of your plant, these 2 products are very good to add a source of calcium and magnesium to your fertilizer regimen. The Organic Garden Line by Epsima is very easy to use. You just sprinkle about anywhere from 1/4 teaspoon to 1/2 teaspoon, just depending on your orchid pot size. And then you just water that in. Very simple, but it's a very good source of calcium and magnesium, and that helps you to hang on to your flower spikes. It also helps the plant hold on to its lower leaves, especially on your Phalaenopsis. You know, you have those lower leaves that want to drop off. That will help that to keep from happening. Also on your dendrobiums, and really on all of your plants, the calcium is so important. I also use the CalMag. I love this product. They have improved the health of my plants dramatically. And the next tip I have for you is patience. With all of your orchids, you have to have persistence and consistency in their fertilizing schedule and in their watering schedule. And you need to know your phals are going to be blooming about once a year. If they bloomed last October, they're most likely going to do that again in October. Usually, what I'm saying usually is because this plant has been in my collection for 10 years. This is my beautiful DTPS Red Brothers Caribe. I love this plant. It's a beautiful, healthy plant. But I had this plant for 2.5 years before it rebloomed on me. It kept growing leaves and leaves and leaves, but it wouldn't rebloom. Then, since it's started blooming, it's in bloom a lot, probably more than any of my phals. It's a big, beautiful phal. It's the one that's featured in so many of my videos. So I'm hoping that gives you all a lot of ideas to get your all's orchids to rebloom. I'm wishing you many spikes with many blooms, and you all be highly favored, deeply loved, and greatly blessed. And we'll talk to you all next time.